Buenos dias, Gunners Collective TV. Back at it. You already know. Like a torta with some bad habits. Bye up. Bye up. Let's get to the intro. Welcome back to Gunners Collective TV. And if you haven't already hit that like and subscribe button, make sure you go ahead and do that. Put the notification bell on all things so that way you're directed in the direction of the, what direction is it? It's coming from every direction. The direction that the dope content that I'm kicking. Boop, right? And we appreciate you over here, man. Thank you for all the support, and I'm very humbled by it. Now, if you haven't tapped into the collective clips over there, I've been telling some good stories. I'm kind of like telling like a life story as I go along, and a lot of people are liking the situation. But I wanted to talk about, because this is a little bit more of an aggressive channel, I wanted to talk about a situation where two homies got washed up, and they deserve to be washed up. Now, when I say washed up, that means they were heavily involved. I won't say heavily, but they thought they were involved in the gang lifestyle. These were two of my homies, right? They weren't from Merced, but they were two homies that I knew, and they were twin brothers. And they decided that if for no other reason, when they got out of prison simultaneously, they were like, one went to jail, the other one fucking went to jail, right? These guys couldn't do anything without holding each other's hand. Hey, I'm going to fuck that. I'm going to go stab someone. You want to go stab someone? Are you going to do it first? No, you are. Well, fuck it. Let's do it together. Twinsies, right? They were twinsies. Now, they had the look. The Mongolians, the big old brochas, the tattoos, Norteno, all that. They weren't really like that, right? Deep down inside, they were what you call pillow guys, softer than Charmin. Pillow talk, right? Pillow talk of mine. They were pillow talk. They did a lot of pillow talking, and they were soft. But everybody, because they had that look, they looked hardcore, automatically assumed, so they had to live by them rules. They had to disguise who they really were. Fishermen, family guys, just like to kick it and eat a taco of tripas, right? And then all of a sudden, they became that homeboy on Scante, that homeboy that was out there fucking viciously for the cause and the movement. They weren't really all that. There's a lot of dudes that do that. Unfortunately, I can't speak for Southern California, but I'll say in Northern California, there was a lot of homeboys in my era. Not nowadays. I don't know what's going on nowadays. It's wild, wild west. But back in my days, they portrayed something they really weren't. Now, at the same time, there were a lot of homeboys striving, meaning that they were really dedicating themselves to the politics and to the whatever, the ins and outs of prison and the Northern movement. These guys were not that, but they looked like that. And by doing that, they confused a lot of the littler homies that they were really them. So I did time with another couple set of twins, right? I've done time with a couple. We had in Merced, we had these Vatos, Izzy and Mikey. They were twins. They're from NFL gang. Those were the homies, man. Me and Izzy, he was actually, I wouldn't say a crimey, but he actually went with me when I was on the run and went all the way out to North Carolina when I caught my murder case, right? That Vato right there was with the program. Now, he was really about that life. His brother was even more so, but was the smoothest one. He kept it quiet. He went to church. He did his thing. And then late night, motherfuckers got handled. That's how he was. But this was my first set of twin homeboys that I was around that I could say were really with the smack activities. Now, I knew these dudes at the same time, the evil Norteno twins, Big Evil and Temper, right? But they weren't like these guys. Now, when I went to the youth authority, I ran into a couple homeboys from Tulare County, from Poros, that were twins. Oscar, and I forget his brother's name, right? They were with the program too. You know, the homeboy Cuate, Oscar, he couldn't fight a lick. I remember him, the Southsiders were on his shit. They're pushing his shit back, right? Hey, that about to couldn't fight, not even a little bit, right? But he did, though. And by just, hey, it's not about, in my era, it wasn't about win or lose. It was about the pull up, right? It was about maintaining your integrity, your pride, your morals, and doing your thing, man. Like I said, that's why on my channel, I'm not scared to tell you guys about my wins or losses. I'm not a super Norteno where it was always wins and wins and wins. And we beat Southsiders up and we beat blacks up and we beat whites. And nah, man, I got my ass whooped on several occasions. When I did win, I was happy than a motherfucker. I should have got a participation prize for participating and winning, but there was no prizes. Never got any of that. You know what the homeboys told me? That's right, bro. You did that, but you should have swung harder, homie. Like, it was always downplaying the groove, right? It wasn't smooth with the groove, but it was always some bumpy shit. It was always like, oh, damn, bro, the way you hit that vato, that was cool. But see, I did it like this. Like, then why didn't you do it like that? Why'd I have to go do it like that? Anyways, the homeboy Cuate, he couldn't fight that good, but he fought. And that was good. And that was it, man. As long as he was another body to throw at the fucking mass movement of Southsiders that we had there, I was happy. So anyways, along comes the Evil Twins, right? And these dudes weren't YA babies. They never did youth authority time. They went to juvenile hall a couple times, right? But I got hooked up through them, to them through their primo. Their primo was a homeboy from my neighborhood. He was a good homie. He was like, hey, you want to go to my primo's house one day? They lived in a different city. I'm not going to put them on blast because I think they still live in that area, right? But anyways, he was like, let's go to my primo's. He was like, hey, you're going to trip out on them. They're all banged out. I was like, and back in them days, I was active. Like, I kept myself around that type of activity. Like, if the homies had that look with the Ruslan, the Mongolians, like I had my Mongolian, we blended. We were blending, right? That was cool. So I remember pulling up the first day to their pad. They were having a little barbecue. I took Ricky with me, my primo. He's like, whooping, there's the gang of homies here. Yeah, there is a gang of homies here. And I met them and I was like, damn, they were twins, fraternal twins. Like, they were both guys. They had a similar look. Like, you could tell they were brothers, but they didn't look identical. You know, like, they weren't identical twins. Like, oh, damn, man, I can't tell this guy from that guy. They were fraternal, so they had a similar look. But anyways, so I'm back there, and these vatos are talking high-power shit. Like, hey, yeah, man, I was over in San Quentin, hey. It was going on right there. I was on fucking, I was with the homeboys in the Oyo, and we were really functioning, programming. That's all I talked about, prison. Back in them days, I was all enraptured with it. Is that right, bro? How many vatos did you stab? You know, I lost count, homie. I lost count at 4. That's it. You know what I mean? I lost count. And his other brother was like, hey, guy, I know my count. What's your count? And my count's 5, eh? Always one more. They always were like in competition, but they did shit together. So let me explain to you what happened. So that was my first interaction with them. I thought they were cool. I thought they were really about it, like a Master P song. And I told my homeboy, their primo, I was like, damn, your primos are cool, right? And they were like, hey, anytime, come over. If you just want to have a beer, smoke some crank, whatever, you're more than welcome, eh? Right? And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and pass on the crank shit. But a beer seems feasible, right? So we could do that. Word of the day, feasible. So bam, we got out of there. And I was like, your primos are cool. That's what's up, right? So it was like maybe 6-7 months. I stopped tripping. I didn't even trip on them dudes. Like, I just met them. You meet a lot of homeboys, a lot of people in passing, right? That's life in general. And so one day I'm chilling with the homeboy and he's like, hey, you want to go to my primo's pad? They're having a little party. There's a gang of chicks there. And he's like, you know, it's all Northern now. GUN album everywhere, right? I'm like, let's go. So I called Ricky at that time, but he was staying with his mother-in-law. And that's a story I'm going to tell on the other channel. But he was like, well, but I can't go. I want to go, though. I want to go. Go pick me up. Nah, I ain't going to pick you up. I'm gone. So I ended up going. And the atmosphere was a little bit different. What had happened was one of them just got out of the county jail, right? And so when he was in the county jail, there was a removal that happened. And he didn't participate to the level that he needed to participate in, right? So he was in question. He was on ice, what the Northerners used to call the freeze. Didn't mean he was all bad. Didn't mean he wasn't a homie. It just meant he had some questions to answer. Usually when you get put on freeze, the first time, shit could pass. You can figure it out. The second time, ooh wee. The third time, bro, you keep fucking up. You're just a fuck up, right? Your time is limited. Anyways, this was his first time on freeze, and he was taking it as a badge of honor. Yay. And as I walk in, everyone's chopping it up. There's all kinds of little homies. They all looked up to these dudes, right? And it was Big Evil, and he was like, yeah, Holmes, the homies put me on freeze and shit. It's my first time, you know what I mean? Hey, I slid by a gang of time. Nah, it was because it was a removal, and I just, you know, I felt bad for the little homie that they were fucking picoing. They were pico that guy and the little homie, and I thought back to when I was a little homie, and I said, oh, so you're a big homie. This is where it started, right? I said, oh, so you're a big homie. He's like, what level are you talking about? Because I've achieved a lot in my life, right? We were in our fucking mid-20s at this time. I was in between prison terms, right? I'm like, no, like when you say big homie, bro, the way I take it is like you got status, you're somebody. And he was like, yeah, well, if you want to say it like that, you know, I can't expose my hand. So I automatically assumed, okay, he's one of them. He's a bro. He's a big homie, right? Didn't expect him to go all out and say he was something he really wasn't. So I'm kicking back like, all right, cool. And his brother's like, hey, let me talk to you for a second. I said, what's up? He's like, yeah, my brother, I don't like the way you were questioning my brother. I said, nah, it was a simple question, bro. He's like, yeah, well, me and the little homies right here, we don't like it. And I said, oh, so little homie, so you're a big homie too? He was like, I am what my brother says I am. right? And I said, okay. Okay, so I was like, I didn't know that. My bad, Spencer, homie, respects. So I ended up fucking, we partied that night. There was a gang of chicks. Mamonas were flowing. It was like a buffet of mamonas. You can get a fat white chick, you can get a brunette, a blonde, highlights. It was up to you. I'm a highlight guy, so I went to the highlights and highlight that, right? I was living. So anyways, I'm back in the neighborhood, and I asked one of my homeboys who was always in and out of prison just like myself. He was somebody at that point, right? And I was like, hey, bro, you know these vatos? And he was like, yeah, I know them. I was in the county with them before. What's up? I said, are they that? It just was playing on my mind. It's no big deal. And this shows you the mentality of what you say can fuck your career up in the North-South shit, right? And I said, yeah, what's going on with them? He's like, ain't nothing. They're solid homies. I said, are they that though? Like what you are? He's like, bro, I don't think so, unless they got pulled. Did they go to the pen recently? I said, one of them was in the county, but he was on freeze. He's like, they're full of shit, eh? They're just bullshitting. I said, well, you could do that. You could just play homies like that and say that you're some you're not. Say that you got status, right? And he was like, nah, bro. You know what? It's just them being all high powered the way they are. Okay. So that was just me questioning it, right? I wasn't like I was going to do something or push the issue. I wasn't even in a position at that time to push the issue. I didn't care. Really? I cared like in my mind, but I said, I can't fuck with these guys now because they be lying. They're fugazi. They're bamboozling people. And I hate dudes that do that. They say they have status or this and that, and they really did it or don't, right? So I stood back. All right, cool. Whatever. I was just a homie doing my thing. I wasn't trying to rock no boat. So what happened is they go to a place called Delhi. Now, Delhi is predominantly Southsiders. It's a trip, right? Because you'll have like, and there's Northerners from Delhi, but mostly Southsiders, ghost town, right? You have like Northerners in Merced, and then like Livas and Madera and the whole 209 shit. And then you'll go to places like Atwater, Winton, Southsiders. Then you'll go to Livingston, Livas, and there's a gang of Northerners. And then you'll go to Delhi, the next city over, and it's just Southsiders. That's just how that valley situation was right there. Merced County, right? It was like that. And it's been like that. It stays like that. And so they got into a little fucking thing. They went to some chicks. Some chicks set them up, basically. They went to go party with some chicks, these two brothers. And chicks were always on them because they, I don't know why, but they went, maybe it was their stilo. And the chicks actually set them up, and they got into a bang, bang, shoot them up, shoot out, right? With these dudes from Delhi. And someone got hit in the process. Anyways, they're in county jail. I happened to go to county jail at the time, right? And when I'm in the county jail, I see them. They're cool. They're on the block with the homies. It is what it is, right? And I'm like, oh, what's up, bro? And there's a gang of homies from my neighborhood. And these dudes, like when you first get there, and I can't tell you the intricate details, but when you first get there, there's a process you have to go through to get cleared, to make sure that you're able to be there and you ain't got nothing bad on your jacket, right? So when I get there, they were already cleared. You understand what I'm saying? And I get there, do my little thing. A couple of days, I get cleared. I'm good, right? And we're out on the yard. It's a little yard, Merced County Jail. And these dudes got a little position. They're playing their position, both brothers. They're like running some shit. Not running everything because there was someone in there but they were running enough for me to know. So I questioned it. I was like, hey, bro, why are these vatos in position like this? Because they got Mongolians or what? He was like, nah, those are good homies. You can't be questioning the homies. I can get DP'd for the shit I was doing, right? And I wasn't trying to be a chismosa. I wasn't trying to get no one hit or hurt. But at the same time, it was like, hey, I know something you don't know, right? So I'm like, hey, you got this guy standing or what, right? He was a homie from my neighborhood, the who's who of the who the fuck do you care? Because he's really about that, right? And he's like, yeah, those are my brothers right there, right? And I was like, no, they're not. Now, again, I didn't know, but I put my motherfucking big old pata in my mouth, right? I said, no, they're not, bro. Them brothers don't have status. He's like, yeah, well, they're saying they do when they filled out this and that. They said they did. I said, damn right. That's the way it works nowadays. You could just say something. So with that being said, right, that was just a birdie in the homeboy's ear. I end up getting out of the jail, right? They're in there doing their thing. Someone comes from Salas. He ends up getting caught up on a case. And he comes in, he takes everything. Like, hey, this is me, right? And he was somebody. Somebody once told me. Hey, he was somebody. So, hey, what is that song? Somebody and whatever, right? He's somebody. And somebody or nobody, but somebody. Key Sweat shit. He goes in there, he takes over, and they figure out that these dudes ain't who the fuck they say they are, right? Bro, This was a perfect example. And now they're fighting a case. They're in there for a shooting. They're going to be there for the duration. And what happens is, I guess, they had a lot of like friends, a lot of people that looked up to him because everyone thought, I mean, if you seen them, you'd be like, oh, these motherfuckers are straight up with the business. Like they fucking have to be big homies and shit. They weren't though. And so what happened was the one dude, one of the brothers, right? His name's Temper. He finds out through one of his little homies in there, like, hey, they're plotting on us, right? So he tries to tell his brother, like, hey, we need to get off, homie. We need to handle our business, eh? Because these dudes are plotting on us. Like our career's over, basically. And like a stupid ass, they weren't plotting on him like that. Yes, what they had done was a very questionable act, portraying something you're not. But at the same time, they would have probably just been DP'd. They would have had to write an essay on why you don't lie, stupid ass, right? Or do a whole bunch of push-ups or mini ride or something to that degree. It wasn't at the point. But because Temper was putting it in his brother's ear, like, hey, his brother, like a dumbass, questioned the house. He wrote a wheela to who's who was what, right? And said, there's rumors going around, putting homeboys on blast. Like the homies told you just to help you. Hey, that were in question, me and my brother, man, it wasn't like that, and started to blame shit on his brother. Man, Cain and Abel shit. Am I my brother's keeper? Am I my brother's ende? And threw his brother under it was my brother that said that wasn't even me, man. I was just backing him up because he's my brother. My God, now you got to understand, right? And within doing so on that, he changed it from what could have been a simple just DP to something different now, right? So, true story. They say, okay, if your brother did this, then we're going to need you to get at your brother. Some old American me shit, right? We're going to need you to get at your brother, not kill him, but you're going to have to remove him, homie. Now, at that time, that you'd get whacked, beat up on, and get the fuck up out of here. It wasn't like the Salinas Valley thing where they're pushing knives in your eyes and all that. It wasn't that. Not then, right? And so he's like, all right, I'm willing to do that. So he tells his brother like a punk, right? He's like, hey, don't trip Evil, or don't trip Temper, because Temper was the one that told him that Evil was the one getting at the dude, right? He's like, don't trip it. It's good. It's good. They were celled up together. And so with that being said, his brother's like, all right, cool. We're good, man. This Vato tried to move on his brother with some strangulation shit, right? Just try to choke him and shit. His brother puts hands on him. They break it up in the cell. Now, in the LA County jail, shit, I ain't going there, right? In the Merced County jail, it's like 8-man cells on the block, right? So the homies are like, what? They think it's just like sibling rivalry, two brothers. They don't realize this dude was literally trying to choke his brother out. There ain't even no cops on the tier. They didn't even let no other homies know. He just, fuck it, I'm choking him. I'm going to live, right? Mi vida loca, la primera live, right? He's trying to do his thing. And his brother's fucking hitting him. They both can't fight worth shit, right? And the homies break it up like, what are you guys doing, bro? You guys can't be fighting, bro. We know you're brothers, so it's whatever. So people heard the scuffling and shit, and they're thinking, okay, this dude's really removed his brother. He's really A1 from day one. Man, they broke it up, and then he tells his brother, they told me I had to, in front of the homies. Homies immediately post on him. True shit, right? Wheelers get phone, man. They go out to the yard, and I'm going to tell you right now, bro. These dudes were lucky. They were very lucky that them dudes didn't have big old knives on them. They just had little picos, little scrapers. Man, they gave these motherfuckers the business, bro. I had a homie that was there. He was like, bro, they scraped them dudes. They were ripping their Mongolian out of their head, just fucking them off, right? And all this was just a DP. And all this was because they lied about their status and their situation. I've been seeing a lot of that happen. I see dudes that proclaim to be something that they're not. And I'm just like, I'm not in the mix anymore. I'm not part of that life. But it's like, bro, I understand the repercussions. And nowadays, they'll put a whole knife in your skull like they're not playing, right? So when I see dudes that are going towards that gang lifestyle, and I'm speaking from Northern California, Southern California, they do what they do. I've seen their fucking DPs in Pegada. You get stabbed, you get scraped, right? I remember, look, trip out. I was in Susanville, L3. I'm in the oil. And this is at the time now where I'm no longer in good standings. I got off red on the yard. I'm just what I am, right? And my cellie was from the IE. They sold me out with the little ex-Southsider from the IE, right? And we're right there in the cell. His name is Puppet. And the Southerners, you could see the yard from the cell that we're in. You could see the yard, right? And I'm like, hey, bro, fucking, damn, hey, that's the Southsiders out there right now. He's like, yeah, that's the homies right there. You know, motherfuckers be not in good standings anymore, but still always the homies, right? So he's like, it's the homies and shit. And all of a sudden, it's the snow. It's snowing out there. You see snow, and they're working out, and there's probably like 30 of them out there. They're deep. And all of a sudden, you see, boom, two dudes pull out pieces and start getting off, right? And then the tower, boom, fires the little whatever he fires. And it happens fast. I was like, damn, they just removed someone, bro. Because, you know, the northern word was removal. Southsiders didn't use the word removal. Theirs was called pegada, right? Or just stab you. Ours was removal. I was like, oh, they removed a dude. He was like, oh, no, that was just a chequeada. I said, what do you mean? He was like, that's just a checking, bro. He was like, that fool knew what he had coming. He went out there brave and shit. Watch. Hey, 2 weeks later, that motherfucker was on the yard. He had things all over him where they stabbed him. He's out there working out and shit with them. I'm like, damn. So that's just how it was for them. With Northerners, it was a different thing. It was more like if you fuck up and it comes to the point that they have to put hands on you, they're going to try to take your win, right? Other than that, that's why you were given essays and workouts and shit. It's because they were trying to enlighten you and build you back up to be a more solid homeboy than you were. You know, with the Southsiders, it's just like, there's so many of them. It's just like, hit him. If he survives, then he's good. Now, if he doesn't, he doesn't. Now, if it comes to a point where he's like, he really fucked up, well, then you'll know that. Everybody would know that. That leads me kind of back to the Swifty Blue situation yesterday. I did the video on, you know, just by the way it was handled, you know, I think that was a chequeada. But whatever. With that being said, man, just something I want to put out. Them dudes, they ended up luckily getting scraped. It's your fault, right? And they end up moving and to a spot. And from what I hear now, they're back in their little same area. But it is what it is, man. They changed their life. They're all Christians. Like, we're going to see the king. yeah, because you guys ain't going to the yard anymore. Fuck that. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I hope you guys enjoyed the story. It's all facts. It's all truth, man. I'm trying to give you some knowledge you can't get in college, some game. I say that to say this. I'm not here to poison anyone. I'm not here to deter you from being a gangster. I'm not here for any of that. It's not what I signed up for, right? I'm just a YouTube content creator telling you stories and making you laugh at the same time with some realisms. And I'm saying, this is the life. Are you willing to lead it? That's up to you. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive, struggle, and strive for what I truly believe in. That's the betterment of all people. You guys want a part 4 for the collected clips of Super Torta? Better tap in today. Bang, bang. Also, I wanted to say, man, we're celebrating my birthday tonight and tomorrow. Make sure you guys pull up, man, on the live tonight at 7 p.m. Pacific time, in the Pacific to be specific. And we're going to get off, man, where we're mad at, have a good time. Drinks are going to be flowing. Music's going to be going. And already you're going to be knowing.